Jungkook exposes BTS scandal in private live. We were never united, only surviving. When Jungkook went live unscripted and unfiltered, the world saw the dark side of BTS. Secrets were revealed, lies were exposed, brotherhood was tested. You think we're best friends? We didn't even speak during our last dinner together. Jungkook's voice cracked slightly, but not from tears, from restraint. The camera wobbled for a second before focusing. Low resolution, dim lighting, single bottle of water by his side. No stylist, no team, no filters. Just raw silence and a heavy, suffocating truth about to be spilled. He leaned in closer, eyes bloodshot, not from crying but from nights without sleep. I've stayed quiet for 10 years. I smiled when I didn't want to. I sang songs I didn't write. I called them hyung, even when they made me feel invisible. He took a breath, shallow and sharp, then whispered, "But if this is how we go down, I'm not going down quiet." The live stream had started unexpectedly, without schedule, without notice. Fans flooded the comments section within minutes. Is this real? Is he okay? Some begged him to stop. Some egged him on. And then, the line that burned through the fandom like wildfire. We survived because we were afraid. Not because we were strong. Silenced, he looked away, as if trying to decide whether to keep going or log off and pretend none of this happened. But something in him had snapped, and once broken, it wasn't coming back together. I've been the golden magne since I was 15, he continued, voice low, mechanical. You know what that really means? It means being everything but yourself. It means singing songs where your name isn't even listed in the credits. He grabbed a nearby folder, flipping it open with a dull slap on the table. Pages of sheet music, song demos, some marked with his name, others crossed out in red ink. I submitted 37 songs. 37. Want to guess how many made it into an album? None. He scoffed. They said it wasn't the right color. But let's be real, it just wasn't their color. And then he started naming names. Suga, RM. We fought over this more times than I can count. You think Hyung supported me? They tolerated me. There's a difference. The sound of the air conditioner hummed louder in the silence that followed. He glanced at the chat, shook his head, and smiled bitterly. You're all talking about the letter, right? The one RM posted this morning. You think that was spontaneous? He pulled a crumpled piece of paper from under the table. You want the truth? He unfolded it slowly, deliberately. The paper bore the HYB logo at the top, clearly official. RM didn't leave because he's tired. He left because he found this. He didn't read it aloud. He didn't have to. The tension in the air shifted. His eyes scanned the page, then looked back into the lens. If I read this, you'll never listen to BTS the same way again. Suddenly, static. The screen glitched, that a frozen frame of Jungkook's face. Eyes wide, lips parted mid-sentence. Lingered before the screen went black. Live, terminated 0.15 minutes later, the entire stream disappeared from his account. But it was too late. Fans had screen recorded every second. Translations spread across platforms in under an hour. On Twitter, a single phrase echoed across the world. Hashtag Jungkook live exposed. The next morning, South Korean news outlets exploded. International media followed, spinning theories, demanding statements. HYB released a cold, short response. We asked for everyone's understanding and respect for the members' privacy during this time. But fans knew better. Behind the clean PR line, a silent war was brewing. Between brothers who no longer trusted each other. Between truths buried for years and a legacy on the brink of collapse. In the silence that followed, millions asked the same question. Was this the end of BTS or the beginning of who they really were? The email leaked at 3:42 a.m. Korea Standard Time. No official sender. No subject line. Just a PDF attachment labeled not underscore the underscore story to PDF. Within minutes, it hit every major fan forum and news site in South Korea. The message inside was unmistakably written by RM. The tone, the phrasing, the precision of the words. It was him. I wasn't going to say anything more. I thought one letter would be enough. But after seeing what Jungkook said, I realized I owe the truth. Not just to you, but to myself. Jimin was the first to read it. His phone buzzed violently at 4 a.m., screen filled with group chat messages, news alerts, Twitter mentions. He sat up in bed, eyes bleary, then clicked the file with trembling fingers. Shit, he muttered. The letter was not an attack. It was a confession. And like all confessions, it didn't come clean without revealing just how dirty things had gotten. RM wrote of the early days. The hunger, the passion, and the moment it all shifted. There's a point in success where it stops being about the music. It becomes survival, relevance, money, and sometimes manipulation. We weren't equal. We knew it. Some of us were okay with that. Some of us weren't. And HYB, they fed on that divide. There it was, a direct accusation, not toward the members, but toward the machine behind them. HYB detailed the pattern. Preferential treatment, media narratives scripted to elevate certain members, others pushed into shadows when convenient. According to RM, even some controversies, relationships, solo deals, selective screen time, had been coordinated. I stayed because I thought I could protect everyone from the inside. But the more I tried, the more I became what I hated, a handler instead of a leader. He admitted to silencing Jungkook. Yes. I told him his songs weren't ready. Not because they weren't, but because the execs told me there was no space for him on that album. That album was already spoken for. I hated myself for saying it, but I said it anyway. Across Seoul, fans were waking up to the truth they never wanted to believe. BTS, the global symbol of unity, resilience, brotherhood, was fracturing in real time. Meanwhile, Jungkook hadn't gone live again. His Instagram story was a single black square that in a caption. No music, just black. Taeyong, on the other hand, was at a photo shoot in Milan when the leak hit. A reporter shoved a phone in his face backstage that he stared at the screen, reading RM's words slowly that he didn't flinch. He didn't speak, he simply pulled off his mic, walked out of the frame, and vanished into the city. Jimin hadn't spoken publicly yet either, but his silence had weight. 2 hours after the letter leaked, he posted a picture to his story, the BTS logo on a cracked mirror. Below it, a caption, "What we broke, we can't pretend to fix." Back online, fans were divided like never before. Some demanded BTS disband entirely. Others begged for reconciliation. But most were asking one terrifying question. What was in the paper Jungkook held up because RM's letter didn't mention it? Not even once. HYBHQ. Boardroom lights were still on at 6 a.m. Executives were in crisis mode. The company's official statement had been prepared hours before the leak dropped, meant to downplay Jungkook's live. But now, they were drafting a response to a war they could no longer control. Damage control is no longer an option, said one internal memo. We need silence. From all of them. Immediately. But silence was a luxury they didn't have. That afternoon, a YouTube video surfaced. Not from a BTS member, but from a staffer, an ex-makeup artist named Mina who worked with the group for 6 years. The video was blurry, filmed with a cracked phone camera. You think this is new? It's not. I've seen them fight, cry, leave rehearsals for hours. People think the worst moment was that 2018 contract negotiation. No, it was 2021, when someone almost walked away for good. The comments exploded. Who? What happened in 2021? Is this about Jungkook or RM? By nightfall, the narrative had slipped entirely out of HYB's hands. Fans didn't want polished statements or empty words. They wanted blood or closure, preferably both. But in a quiet corner of Seoul, in a locked studio far from cameras and chaos, someone was watching the world fall apart. Jungkook, that he hadn't spoken, hadn't posted, that he simply stared at an unfinished track on his screen. The title, Dust // Memory. He hit play, and in the echo of the empty room, a single lyric looped over and over. We said we'd die together, but we never lived. The first time Jimin ever raised his voice during practice was in 2017. It shocked everyone. Not because of what he said, but because he had never spoken like that before. Not to the group, not even to himself. I'm not your backup dancer. That memory came back in full force now, 7 years later, as he stared at his phone, fingers hovering over the keyboard, he had read RM's second letter. He had watched Jungkook's live twice, but he hadn't said a word. Not publicly. Not in the group chat. Not even to Taeyong. The group chat, once filled with memes, songs, and late-night food pics, had been silent for 26 hours. Jungkook had left it. Yoongi was still in it, but hadn't read the messages that RM had muted it. Taeyong never opened it. And Jimin kept typing, then deleting. The mirror in his practice room was cracked, a long fracture across the bottom left corner, like a scar. It wasn't from anger. It was from a moment of distraction months ago. He never fixed it, maybe because it felt honest. Jimin stood in front of it now, drenched in sweat, breathing hard. He'd been rehearsing the same choreography loop for over an hour, but he couldn't focus. His moves were sharp, but his face wasn't there. He dropped to the floor, closed his eyes, let the silence sit. And then he whispered to no one, "They don't know what we gave up." It wasn't just the fans he was thinking of. It was himself, the version of Jimin that existed before Promise, before Filter, before Jimin of BTS became a full-time persona. He remembered the day the stylist told him to stop eating carbs, the day the producer told him his voice was too soft for a main part, the night Taeyong said, "You've changed," and meant it like an accusation. And the worst part, they weren't wrong. He checked his phone again. A new message from someone he hadn't expected. From Sejin Hyung, subject: urgent, Jimin, don't post anything. HYBE is handling it. We'll put out a joint statement next week. Let's not feed the fire. He read it 3 times, then opened Instagram. Posted a picture of the cracked mirror again, this time with a new caption: "You can't dance in pieces." 10 minutes later, he went live. The screen lit up. Soft lighting. No background music. Just him sitting cross-legged in his practice studio, hoodie damp with sweat. He didn't smile, didn't wave. Just stared at the camera for a long moment before finally speaking. "I'm not going to defend anyone. And I'm not going to attack anyone. I'm tired of being told what to say." The chat exploded. Fans from around the world poured in, begging for answers, begging him to stop, begging him to go deeper. That he kept going. "I don't hate Jungkook. I'm just hurt that he said those things without talking to me first." He looked away for a second. The crack in a mirror behind him caught the light. "We fought. Yes, we almost fought physically, but we didn't. And maybe that's worse, because it means we kept it all inside. For years." He took a shaky breath. "People keep asking what broke us. But maybe nothing broke. Maybe we were never whole to begin with." The chat turned into a battlefield. "We trusted you. You're brave for saying this. This is betrayal." Finally, someone tells the truth with grace. Then someone donated a comment. "What's on the paper Jungkook had?" Jimin froze, his eyes flicked toward the screen, then down. "I know what it is, but I won't be the one to say it." He stood up, walked out of frame. The stream ended. Half an hour later, Taeyong posted a photo, a page from a journal, Jimin's handwriting. The date, March 2021, a single sentence underlined 3 times. "If this ever gets out, it's over." No caption. The post vanished 5 minutes later, but not before fans screenshot it, and not before Dispatch started digging, and not before an anonymous tweet from someone claiming to be a former HYB in turn went viral. There's something hidden in the March 2021 contract amendment. Something that changed everything. By midnight, a new hashtag had replaced hashtag JungkookLiveExpose, hashtag March Agreement, and in the quiet corners of HYB, people were already preparing for what came next. The video wasn't meant to be found at IT, was stored on old hard drive in a forgotten corner of a practice room computer. Untitled, untagged, buried between dozens of rehearsal clips from early 2021, but someone, no one knew who, uploaded it anonymously to a private Vimeo link with a single caption. The day everything changed. It was 46 minutes long, silent for the first 10. Just camera static, muffled shuffling, then voices, unfiltered. Off guard. Real. April 2021. RM. Jungkook, Jimin, Taeyong, and Yoongi were in the studio. No stylists. No managers. Just the 5 of them and the echo of the room. Taeyong's voice was first sharp. "You think I don't know what's going on with the solo deals?" RM stayed silent. Jimin stepped in, calm but cold. "We all saw the contract amendment. Why didn't you tell us, Namjoon?" I didn't tell you, RM finally replied, because I knew you'd react like this. So instead you just let them cut us out? Jungkook snapped. Yoongi, leaning against the wall, muttered, they offer me full creative control for one solo album, but only if I stop pushing for group credits. Everyone fell silent. So we sold each other out? Jimin whispered that RM didn't answer. The March 2021 agreement, the same one hinted at in Jimin's journal, the one Dispatch was now investigating, had been a silent turning point. According to leaked documents that followed the video, the contract restructured BTS's future behind their backs. Individual management, solo career prioritization, separate teams. They weren't breaking up, they were being disassembled. Yoongi was the last to post that he uploaded a track to SoundCloud. No cover, no promo, title, /if family / the first verse was quiet. His voice cracked on the line. We were brothers till money made us strangers in the same house. Then a voice memo at the end, unedited, time-stamped April 2021. I try to keep us together, but maybe we were always meant to fall apart. Maybe that's the only way we can be honest. The mystery of the paper Jungkook held finally unraveled. Dispatch published it first. An internal HYB memo dated March 18th, 2021 that the contents, plans to phase BTS into a legacy brand. Solo deals prioritized. Members marketed by demographic value. Group albums every 3 to 5 years. Internal tier system assigning market worth to each member. The last line was brutal. Emotional cohesion is not necessary for profitability. Jungkook had been right that RM had known. The paper wasn't a threat. It was a eulogy. HYB went silent. Their stock dropped 17% in 3 days. Fans didn't know what to feel. Rage, betrayal, heartbreak, or all three. Some still clung to hope. Some walked away forever. But everyone agreed on one thing. BTS would never be the same. 4 days, Taeyong said nothing. While the world unraveled around BTS, he disappeared from social media, missed a scheduled appearance in Paris, and was last seen entering a private studio in Hanam-dong, face hidden under a black cap. Then, at 2:17 a.m. Korea Standard Time, he posted a single photo. On Instagram, a Polaroid, slightly torn, 0.6 of them in a dance room, mid-laughter, captioned only before the silence. That same night, the Korea Times dropped a bombshell. A whistleblower, identified only as a former HYB legal aide, revealed that Taeyong had refused to sign the March 2021 contract amendment. He was the only one. Instead, he demanded a clause that allowed for a full group opt-out, should even one member formally contest the agreement. That clause had been buried, then quietly erased in a later draft. Without informing the members, Taeyong had found out 2 months later. He told no one. Not Jungkook, not RM, not even Jimin. His silence wasn't apathy. It was rage disguised as control. Episode 8 opened with another shock. A private message Taeyong sent to a trusted stylist had leaked. They turned us into brands. I didn't join this to be product. I joined this for music for them. And now, I don't even know who them is anymore. Meanwhile, Jungkook reappeared on Vapor-Z in a video. Just a post. He tried to save us. And we didn't listen. Underneath, fans flooded the comment section with a single word, sorry. Later that day, Taeyong went live for the first time since the scandal composed. But his words hit like a knife. We all lied. To you. To ourselves. To each other. I don't hate any of them. But I can't keep pretending. None of us can. If we want to fix this, we have to destroy what broke us first. And with that, he ended the live with one promise. The next thing you hear from BTS will be real. No management. No script. Just us. This was never supposed to be heard, Jungkook said quietly, but now, I think it's the only thing that might save us. The video was posted without warning on a new, anonymous SoundCloud account. No profile picture, no name, just a title, BTS, The Lost Tapes //0214 Project 7 tracks. Rough mixes, no auto-tune, no label watermark, just raw voices. Breathing between takes, mistakes left in, emotions unfiltered. Track 1 opened with a whisper from Jean, let's just record it. even if no one ever hears it. And then, silence, followed by Jungkook's piano. 0214 project was recorded secretly between February and April 2021. Right during the time the March Amendment was being drafted at IT was supposed to be a gift. A private album for themselves. No producers, no deadlines. Just music as they made it when they were still brothers, still whole. But when the contract tore them apart, the album was shelved, forgotten, buried by the politics of survival. Until now. Track 3, Mirror Room, featured Jimin and Jungkook in a duet unlike anything fans had heard. You look like me when you cry / but I don't know how to hold you anymore. Their harmonies cracked in the bridge, not from poor vocals, but from something deeper. Regret. Track 5, Ghosts in Practice, was just Taehyung and Jungkook improvising late at night, voices strained and low. We dance like we're still together / but none of us look up anymore. But it was track 7, 214, Promise Me, that broke the internet. IT was the only track with all 7 voices that Namjoon's verse came last. If we burn, let it be on our terms / if we end, let it be in truth. Followed by silence. Then, a line from Jin, barely audible, almost a murmur. I miss when we laughed like we'd live forever. The album was taken down 3 hours after it dropped, but it was too late. Fans had already archived it, shared it, memorized it. Hashtag 0214 project trended #1 worldwide within 30 minutes that HYB responded with a legal warning. But this time it backfired. Artists across Korea and abroad began posting. Let them speak. Music belongs to the artist. Hashtag protect BTS. Even former HYB producers started liking the post. By the end of the week, public opinion had shifted to BTS wasn't just seen as fractured idols, but survivors of a system that tried to kill what made them human. And for the first time since RM's departure, the 7 were seen as something more than a broken group. They were real, hurting, healing, changing. In a surprise appearance, Jin, who had remained silent since his military discharge, finally posted a voice note on Instagram. We were never perfect. Maybe we're still not meant to be. But if we sing again, it will be on our terms. Or not all. And then, the biggest shock yet. HYBE stock was temporarily suspended due to an internal audit request, rumored to be connected to the leaked memo and forged amendments. Inside sources claimed a whistleblower had come forward, and speculation exploded online. Was it a member? It was supposed to be just another award show. No press statement. No promotions. BTS wasn't even on the official lineup. But at exactly 9:14 p.m. Korea Standard Time, the lights dimmed at the Seoul Dome, and a single name appeared on the giant screen. BTS. No introduction. NOMC. Just a spotlight. And then they walked out. All 7 of them. Jin, RM, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, Jungkook, and Choreo. No matching outfits. Just black suits, eyes locked forward, every step weighted with everything they'd been through. The crowd didn't scream. They held their breath. The music started. Not one of their hits, not something HYBE owned, but the first public performance of track 7, 214, Promise Me, from the Lost Tapes. The lyrics hit harder live. If this is goodbye, don't make it pretty / don't fake the tears / just sing with me. The harmonies were imperfect. Jin's voice cracked on his last line. Jungkook wiped away tears mid-chorus. Jimin reached for Taehyung's hand at the final note, and this time, Taehyung didn't let go. When the song ended, no one bowed. They just stood there. 7 men. Not idols, not symbols, just human beings, tired, bruised, honest. After a full minute of silence, Namjoon stepped forward, mic, just his voice, raw and unamplified. We are BTS. Not because of the name, not because of the company, but because we choose to be. He glanced at the others. Jungkook gave a faint nod. Jungkook looked down, smiling sad. This might be our last time on stage together, or it might be the beginning of something new. But whatever happens after tonight will be real. The broadcast cut unexpectedly. HYB had tried to pull the feed, but the audience streamed it on their phones. Clips flooded TikTok, Twitter, Instagram within seconds. Hashtag the last stage, hashtag real BTS, hashtag 7 again that night. An anonymous file was uploaded online by a verified cybersecurity watchdog group. Title, HYB Internal Report. Redline inside. Hundreds of pages of emails, contract revisions, psychological evaluations ordered without member consent, and a timeline tracing the manipulation behind the 2021 contract. The whistleblower's identity? Redacted. But one line at the bottom of the file changed everything. Truth is louder than music. And we choose truth. Signed with a single initial. K.HYB was hit with 3 lawsuits within 48 hours. Artists under their label began requesting contract reviews. International media hailed BTS's stand as the bravest moment in modern music history. A week later, BTS released a video on their own channel. No agency watermark, no monetization, just 7 shares, 0.7 mics, and no script. We won't promise a comeback, Jimin said, eyes calm. But we'll promise this. If we ever sing again, it'll be because we want to, not because we have to. No more masks, Taeyong added. No more silence. Jin smiled. Namjoon leaned back, exhaling slowly, and Jungkook whispered the words fans never thought they'd hear again. Borahi. For real this time. Final shot. 7 empty chairs in a quiet studio. The screen fades to black. The Yendi,